Now at 9, Galena landfill odor prompts EPA investigation and results show no danger to public safety.
At Pitt State, local veterans learn about various tools and resources available to them. I'm Kenny Foreman, and I'll have more on that coming up.
A few helpful tips you should know before buying your baby chicks this season. I'm Nelly Lopez with more details on that coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A free community green zone training session took place today at Pittsburgh State University. This is KOAM News. I'm Blake Gully. As Kenny Foreman reports, the program helps community members better understand the experiences of military veterans and how to connect them with support and resources.
Lauren Osborne of the SCK Veterans Providers Coalition says the event serves a similar purpose to an actual green zone, or a place in conflict that is much safer than the surrounding combat zone.
It creates a place where people who land on opposing sides of a coin can find their way to the edge, that safe place, to share ideas and to collaborate in creating an environment that can spread well beyond the green zone and diminish the risk of suicide or self-isolation.
The event provided a space for veterans such as Chris Bakke to not only learn more, but spread the word about he and his wife's foundation.
We are a veteran established, owned, and operated service to provide therapy services as well as claims assistance for our brothers and sisters, veterans that are also out there here in the Southeast Kansas area, also nationwide.
By providing various resources, the presenters hope that any veteran who may be feeling a sense of isolation will find it a bit easier when it comes to reintegrating into their community.
Nobody has to stand alone. Networking and collaborating together to create a community of people who believe in better health and better capabilities it's creating a society of people that can overcome mental health provision stigma.
And though there's several organizations with different services to offer, they each share a common goal.
We have a lot of great organizations, but there's just a lot of disorganization. So I think the purpose of this is really to kind of bring it all together and let everybody know that we're not competing, that we are all trying to collaboratively work together to provide that support network.
In Pittsburgh, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
Harlan says he's planning on putting together support groups to give veterans more opportunities to share their experiences. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment announced an update to treatments at the Jordan landfill in Galena. Earlier this week, reports of a bad smell rising from the landfill drew the attention of the KDHE and even a Kansas senator. After examination by the KDHE, the department determined the smell posed no threat to the public, but asked the EPA for further investigation. The EPA conducted overnight monitoring of 2 locations as well as sampling near the smoldering area and concluded the levels were to be expected near smoke emissions, but no detection of any contaminants of concern. The EPA is expected to demobilize by tomorrow. Tonight on Capitol Watch, the Missouri House is taking action on a proposal that could significantly change how the state collects taxes. Lawmakers passed a constitutional amendment that would allow voters to decide whether to eliminate the income tax and expand the state's sales tax base. The debate on the House floor highlighted the sharp differences between Republicans and Democrats.
Is taxing seniors out of our state. We have done a kindness to our seniors over the years by eliminating their income tax burden on Social Security. What are we doing? We are negating that. Why did we bother doing that if we are going to make them pay more in sales taxes on the other end?
Lies are being told on this floor. This piece of legislation does not in any part raise any sales tax whatsoever, raise any tax whatsoever. The only thing it does is utilize growth to reduce the income tax over time. It gives the growth back to the people. And it also allows us to hasten that process through an authorization.
The proposal now hits the Missouri Senate. If approved there, Missouri voters would ultimately decide whether to adopt the constitutional amendment. Meteorologist Austin Stans joins us with a first look at weather.
Thanks, Blake. Yeah, things are quiet across the area right now, but some major forecast changes ahead, and it all has to do with this low pressure system off to our northwest. Now, the first half of the weekend will be greeted nicely, I might add, by this warm front. It's going to have our temperatures above average, but as that low pressure system creeps its way in, it's going to wreak some havoc on the back half of the weekend. Now, for right now, things are still calm. That warm front hasn't passed just yet. Winds out of the northeast right now. But as we head throughout this evening, things are going to remain fairly mild. Temperatures still in the 50s as we approach the midnight hour, eventually down into the 40s. But as I mentioned, first part of the weekend going to be very nice. You see all that area of red where it's nice and warm. But as that system creeps in, look at all that blue. That's Arctic air. So we're going to see not only cooler temperatures, but some strong winds ahead of that system, maybe even a few strong storms. Also, the possibility of thunder snow. I'll have details coming up.
Coming up, prices are getting higher as inflation rises.
Inflation is up and people are hiring as the feds release 3 major economic reports. I'm David Spunt in Washington. The details coming up.
But up first, World Sleep Day brings wake-up call about proper rest and sleep hygiene habits. Whether you can't wait to travel to dreamland or hate going to bed, sleep and developmental experts say proper rest is critical for our health. In this World Sleep Day, Fox News' Kevin Uransky takes a closer look at strategies to help you maximize your Z's.
March 13th marks World Sleep Day, a time to raise awareness about just how important it is for everyone to be getting proper rest. Experts like Dr. A.J. Schwichtenberg of Purdue University are encouraging folks to focus on their sleep hygiene.
Sleep hygiene is a term that we use to describe the behavioral and environmental things that you can do to try to improve your sleep.
It's because being overtired is nothing to take lightly.
Not having adequate sleep can impact your metabolic function, it can have neurocognitive implications, and it can affect your immune system. I often remind people that when you drive sleep deprived, your reaction time and cognitive skills are akin to those if you were driving over the legal blood alcohol level.
To help unlock more Z's,
I always say a good night's sleep starts when you wake up in the morning. You want to expose yourself to natural light during the day if at all possible. You want to be active. As afternoon rolls in, you want to start to reduce your caffeine intake, and you want to avoid extended naps. At dinner time or as you're rounding out dinner, start to avoid large amounts of food, alcohol, recreational drug use, and blue light exposure.
Meanwhile, creating consistent habits before bed can help you decompress after the day.
Your sleep location should be cool, dark, and quiet.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The National Institutes of Health says adults should get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night. But if you're still not getting better rest after implementing some of those tips, Dr. Schwittenberg advises talking to a sleep professional. Austin is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, Carthage students get cheesy $10 grilled cheese creations. It's not your average cooking class.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Well, taking a look at our Skywatch storm tracker, we can see our next weather maker. It's hanging off to our northwest. That's going to bring some different conditions, more like winter in the forecast as we head into the end of the weekend. Also some windy conditions. Take a look. Some high wind watches in effect out to our west. They start Sunday at 11 and expire Sunday at 7. It's going to be a fast-moving system as we head throughout the day, but high wind gusts are not out of the question. For tonight, we'll expect temperatures to stay fairly mild. Things are quiet right now. We'll see temperatures down into the 40s as we start hitting those overnight hours tonight. And as I mentioned, across the area, it's going to be fairly nice. So we're going to see the winds continue out of the northeast until the warm front begins to move in as we head into those later hours. Now, taking a look at tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, we'll hit the 40s overnight, but by noon tomorrow, yeah, already in the 60s. How about that? How about upper 70s for your Saturday? Now, this is what I'm going to say. Saturday, you need to get those weekend plans in. You don't want to be caught outside really on Sunday. Why is that? Well, Let's take a look here. We're looking at our upper flow. Things are quiet through Saturday, but look to our northwest where I said that system was. Man, does that really begin to move in, and that trough really develops here. A bunch of Arctic air begins to flow in. On the front edge of the system, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms. Some wraparound moisture is possible, maybe even a few snow showers there. But what's going to happen is as that front passes, temperatures going to fall like a sack of potatoes down there. We'll see temperatures starting in the 60s and finishing the day in the teens as we head into your Sunday night. Now, that's not the only thing that will be in play. We're also going to have a 2 out of 5 or a slight risk of severe weather. So let's look at that. The best opportunity for severe weather looks to be so far right now in the afternoon. This would be a line of showers and thunderstorms with windy conditions already in play. A strong thunderstorm here could easily push winds 60, 70 miles per hour. So we're really going to have to be on the lookout for that. After that front passes, that wraparound moisture comes in contact with some of that colder air. So we're going to see some spotty snow showers here. It's not completely ruled out that we couldn't even see a little bit of thunder snow as that begins to move in as well. Types of precipitation, well, this is important because we're going to start the day where there's warm air at the surface and all the way up. But after that cold front passes, it dives underneath that warm air, forces it up because colder air is heavier and denser. That's when we'll see the transition period between some of these types of precipitation here, most likely transferring from freezing rain, possibly some sleet, and maybe even a few scattered snow showers. We do have the alert day in place for Sunday and Monday, so we're going to want to keep an eye on that. Now, as we head into Tuesday, you'll notice that winter starts to fade away a bit, and then we're back into the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But how about that, Blake? Starting Monday at 36 and ending Friday at 80?
Yes, I'm trying to ignore the winter and go towards that 80 on Friday.
You and me both. I'm running for it.
Yes, thanks, Austin. Students in the culinary class at Carthage High School are putting their cooking skills to the test with a grilled cheese competition. The project challenges students to create their own unique sandwich while staying under a $10 ingredient budget. Students say the competition helps them practice teamwork, budgeting, and balancing flavors in the kitchen.
I have multiple students who are also going into culinary school after high school, and then this will obviously help them learn all of our safety and sanitation techniques as far as how we're supposed to change gloves, wash hands, things like that, plating, and then obviously how to talk to people. We have judges coming through and they have to pitch their idea and their plan.
The winning team will receive 3 vouchers for free Tigers teas sold at the school's student-run cafe anytime throughout the school day. A craft fair in Wyandotte, Oklahoma showcased some local talent. More than 40 vendors turned out for a craft fair at the Wyandotte High School tonight with products ranging from woodwork to homemade soap and more. The funds go to benefit the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America chapter at the Wyandotte High School.
So this is one of those events that really brings out the community, and because we are so community minded, it helps our students see what it's like in real life, but also and provides them an opportunity in a safe environment to learn how to run these kinds of events.
The FCCLA helps build leadership, character, and real-world skills through a variety of projects, including parenting, nutrition, and careers. Coming up next, the war in Iran escalates.
The Pentagon says today will be another day of intense strikes on Iran, and we've learned more U.S. Marines, sailors, and warships are headed to the region. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with the latest on the conflict coming up.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says there's help on the way for American farmers who are trying to cope with the increase in cost of fertilizer. The U.S. and Israel's war with Iran has created shipping disruptions, which have led to an uptick in the cost of nitrogen urea, one of the key components of fertilizer, and that could cause a jump in the cost of food as well. Rollins says the Trump administration is doing all it can to get the price of fertilizer down. The International Food Policy Research Institute says up to 30% of global fertilizer exports pass through the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran is threatening to close cargo vessels to. Federal tax law changes could mean refund delays in some states. Even though the IRS issues federal refunds, state revenue agencies send out state refunds under their own rules, and many are still updating forms and systems to reflect the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which extended lower tax rates and adds new deductions. Delays are possible in New York, Idaho, Oregon, South Carolina, and Washington, D.C. New York cites software updates. Idaho warns some refunds could take up to 6 weeks, and Oregon is urging taxpayers to file electronically to avoid holdups. Democrats and Republicans are still sparring about whether the economy is in good shape following a year of economic turmoil. Democrats blame President Trump for the affordability crisis, while the president says the economy is in the best shape it has ever been. New data, however, released today shows a more complex situation than either party would like to admit. Fox News correspondent David Spunt has more from Washington.
The federal government released 3 reports on Friday that paint a mixed picture of the American economy. Inflation moved higher in January, with core prices up 3.1%, the highest in almost 2 years. Democrats on Capitol Hill say it's proof President Trump is not taking the affordability crisis seriously.
We should all be looking at it, and the president should be having real conversations about this.
But the president is pushing back, claiming prices are high because of the lingering effects of former President Joe Biden's policies.
Joe Biden and the radical Democrats in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country.
At the same time, job openings rose to almost 7 million in January, more than economists had expected, and a possible sign that the job market might be strengthening. But a new GDP report shows overall economic growth could be slowing down. The economy only grew 0.7% last quarter, though some experts say that's the result of the 43-day government shutdown, the longest in history.
I think that government shutdown helps to explain what's happening there.
Ultimately, Friday's data was a mixed bag, but some investors say the uncertainty is starting to have an impact on markets.
Yes, the Dow is higher, but you've got a majority of stocks trading below their 50 and their 200-day moving average. That alone is reason for caution.
It's not clear if today's data will prompt the Fed to lower interest rates, with inflation still above the 2% goal. In Washington, David Spunt, Fox News.
Coming up next, baby chicks hatch into spring, but don't count your chickens before washing your hands. Easter season means baby chick sales are booming. KOAM's Nellie Lopez spoke with Heartland Hatchery owner on the do's and don'ts of how to properly raise your chickens.
The yolk is the food product, as when the chick grows. The white is what becomes the chicken in an egg.
Cuteness overload have hatched. Fresh from cracked eggs also means hidden germs or bacteria like salmonella.
When you handle animals, they're dirty. I mean, they look shiny, but they have germs. Don't eat food, or children especially, when they handle them, you need to wash your hands because a little child doesn't know to wash their hands. Wash your hands. It's real simple.
Some buy chicks to raise them for farm use, others for pets, or even for their children.
They're a good deal for children to learn responsibility to take care of something. Again, they're not a dog or a cat. There's a big difference there, so you don't want to treat them that way. They are an animal that produces eggs or for meat. But again, they do make pets. A lot of people have pets from them, and they enjoy them.
When purchasing chicks, buying one is not recommended.
I will not sell a single bird. It's just not. It's not good practice. They're a social animal, and your odds of losing that bird are very high if you just have one. You need to have at least 2.
Keeping the baby chicks warm also helps with their growth, but there is a difference between the heated plates and a heated lamp.
The deal with the heat plate is the chicks are standing on top of the heat source. The heat lamp is putting the heat over them. Mother Nature, the mama hen, the chicks don't stand on top of her, they stand under her to keep warm.
Keeping them in a warm, dry place for about a week to 10 days and proper feeding after 3 days of them being hatched will help them with their growth. In Pittsburgh, Nellie Lopez, KOAM News.
With Easter around the corner, dyeing the chicks is popular, but using the right materials keep them safe. You can dye water with safe food coloring and spray a small amount on the chicks. Their lint sheds when their feathers come out, so the color will shed off as well. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. 4 U.S. service members die in Iraq crash as Iran threatens new war fronts. And America targets Iran's weapons factories after destroying 90% of drone capability.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
Oil is back above $100 a barrel, and Iran's new supreme leader is breaking his silence for the first time, issuing a written statement amid questions about his health. Madeline Riviera has more on this from Washington.
The White House says relief is on the way, but Americans are not feeling it. A U.S. refueling aircraft went down in western Iraq overnight. 4 of the 6 crew members on board now confirmed dead. The cause still under investigation, but CENTCOM says it was not shot down. That's now 11 U.S. service members killed since the war began. And back home, the cost of the war is showing up at the gas pump.
The bombing is going on indefinitely. The release from the strategic oil reserve has not had any impact on prices that people are paying.
Oil is now back above $100 a barrel despite a record release of global reserves. Energy Secretary Chris Wright says the U.S. economy can handle it.
The United States, we produce more oil than we consume. We're a net oil exporter. So overall for the U.S. economy, this isn't bad news.
And while the Strait of Hormuz remains effectively closed, Iran's new supreme leader is speaking out for the first time, threatening to open new fronts in the war against the U.S.
Studies have also been conducted on opening other fronts in which the enemy has little experience and would be highly vulnerable. Their activation will take place if the wartime situation continues.
The president, however, is not backing down as he continues to defend the airstrikes.
They really are a nation of terror and hate, and they're paying a big price right now.
The U.S. says it could begin escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz by the end of this month. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Cuba's president says the country has been in recent talks with the U.S. aimed at resolving what he calls bilateral differences. He also claims Cuba hasn't received petroleum shipments in 3 months, blaming a U.S. energy blockade. Cuba is relying on natural gases, solar, and thermoelectric plants as the western region continues recovering from last week's major blackout that left millions without power. The number of U.S. military deaths as part of Operation Epic Fury is now 13 after a refueling plane crash in Iraq. With the war nearing its 2-week mark, more U.S. troops are now headed to the region. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
American and Israeli attacks on Iran intensified Friday. The Pentagon says this will be the biggest day of airstrikes so far. And the focus is turning to Iran's military-industrial complex. The goal is to go after the companies that make missiles, drones, and other vital components so the regime can't rebuild and restock.
We're shooting down and destroying what missiles they still have in stock, but more importantly, ensuring that they have no ability to make more.
Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth also says Iran's government is no longer functional, claiming the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is, quote, wounded and likely disfigured, following a written statement by Khamenei vowing to keep fighting.
His father, dead. He's scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them.
But Democrats on Capitol Hill say they're still not getting straight answers from the administration about how long the war will last and if American ground troops will be deployed.
We want to know if their kids or spouses are going to be deployed and for how long. We want to drag this into the open and ask questions in front of the American public.
The U.S. is also focusing on the Strait of Hormuz, destroying 30 Iranian mine-laying vessels to keep shipping lanes open. But despite the military victories, experts say it will be difficult to topple the regime.
It is a problem that has bedeviled multiple administrations, and I don't think any one administration had a silver bullet to solve it.
The Pentagon says between the U.S. and Israel, there have been more than 15,000 strikes on Iran so far, more than 1,000 every day. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Austin is next with a complete look at the forecast.
Precious Moments reopens its doors after being closed for a short period of time. They've done some renovations and made some changes. I'm Ty Parks, and I'll have that story coming up.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Well, there's some pretty big changes in your forecast, and as we get ready to head into the weekend, this warm front's going to get us started off to a nice start for the weekend, but this low pressure system off to our northwest unfortunately has other plans for the second half of the weekend. We'll talk about it. Tonight, 44 degrees overnight, a cloud or two. Winds finally calming down out there out of the south. Here we are starting tomorrow morning in the 40s. It's not a bad start. Look at already upper 60s by the afternoon. Late afternoon hours, we're into the mid to upper 70s. Not a bad way to get your weekend started. Make sure to get those outdoor plans done on Saturday. Why? Well, as I mentioned, here's that system off to our northwest. That starts pushing east. Look at this trough really begin to develop. Arctic air is going to flow in here, but on the eastern edge of that side, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms and strong winds. There's already high wind watches in place off to our west in areas like Wichita and Oklahoma City. I wouldn't be surprised to see these extended further east into our area in the coming days. But that's not all. We also have a slight risk, especially along and east of I-49, for the potential of some stronger storms, mainly going to be damaging wind gusts. So we have an alert day, especially along and east of I-49. This is really going to be from noon to 6. So we want to watch that. Now, here's us heading through Sunday. The system begins moving in. This is where all that cloud cover begins coming from. Here's the noon hour. Take a look at that line really beginning to develop. Temperatures still fairly nice, 64 degrees there in Joplin by noon. But as that cold front passes, watch those temperatures just begin to plummet here. We see that line pass. Some wraparound moisture begins there as well, and it's coming in contact with cold air. So a few scattered snow showers or a mix of rain and snow, definitely possible. Temperatures still above freezing is what we're seeing for right now, but after 6 p.m., things really begin to cool down. We'll see temperatures drop below freezing, especially overnight into the 20s and then into the teens. That's why we have kind of a second alert day, right? From Sunday evening into Monday morning. Dangerously cold temperatures and slick conditions. Take a look at what it's going to feel like as you're waking up heading into Monday. Look, we're down into the teens by 10 o'clock on Sunday. Heading into Monday morning, temperature's going to feel like 0. In some areas. Yeah, it's going to be a cold one out there. So what's really important here is to make sure that you remember bridges ice first. Some flash freezing is possible here. All that cold air rushing under these bridges with maybe some leftover residual water from some of that rain can freeze very quickly here. So definitely travel safely as you head into the work week on Monday. The good news is the return of winter really only lasting one day. Yes, I know it's still cold overnight, but then temperatures rebounding well. Look at that, 53 on Tuesday. And then it just keeps going up. It's like climbing a ladder. So it's like, hey, you know, winter's here for a day, but then we just kind of kick it out of there.
Oh, yes, and I am looking forward to that rebound.
You and me both.
Thanks, Austin. Still ahead, 2 4-state basketball teams look to advance to the next round of their state tournaments. Plus, Heather Arnett builds on her Pitt State career in another record-setting performance. Ben McLeish has those stories and more coming up next in sports.
Colgan boys basketball takes the floor tonight, playing in its first state semifinal matchup since 2019. The 6th-seeded Panthers eyeing a spot in the state title game, facing 2-seed Berrien Academy. And the Panthers would strike first in this one. Brady Bottega with the drive and dish to Jaden Brown in the corner. The senior southpaw drills the 3. Couple possessions later, it's Brady Crossland attacking the basket, this time Euro stepping into the floater and getting the friendly roll for 2. But it was the Warriors shooting that would take over. Final seconds of the first, Emery Kakula swings it to Will Snook in the corner, who buries the triple before the buzzer. Second quarter, inbounds for Colgan. Jaden Brown repays the favor, finding Bottega underneath. Count the basket and a foul. But the Panthers fall short against the Warriors, 61-35. On the diamond, the Pitt State and Missouri Southern softball teams each have doubleheaders. The 22-1 Gorillas look to build another winning streak, taking on Sioux Falls. Bottom of the first, Heather Arnett leading off. She bounces one to the pitcher and beats the throw to first. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a record-setting hit. Arnett breaks the MIAA record for most consecutive games with the hit, now sitting at 27 straight games. And with runners on the corners, Lexi Davis lines one through the infield. 2 runners come home as the Gorillas jump to an early lead. And the next batter, Sailor Hall, clobbers this one deep to left and out of here. PSU leads 4-0, and that's all they need as they take down the Cougars 4-1. They'd win Game 2 as well to sweep the doubleheader. Lions softball hosting St. Cloud in Game 1 of their doubleheader, and SSU trailing 1-0 early. Taylor Knuckles smacks one in the right center field gap, and Emma Mason comes in to score as Knuckles races into second with the double to knot it up at 1 run apiece. Next batter, Katie Gray drops one into left field, and Knuckles reads it well gets in to score. The single gives the Lions a 2-1 lead. They take down the Huskies 3-1 in Game 1 and secure another sweep in Game 2. And the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships begin today in Virginia Beach, with Gorillas and Lions athletes earning chances to compete. There's a lot of events left on the weekend, but after today, Pitt State men sit in 5th place, but they already earned some hardware as the Gorillas men's distance medley relay team takes home the gold. And the Lady Gorillas end the day at the top of the leaderboard with a 9-point lead over second place Ashland. Pitt State's Jasmine Williams also takes home a national title in the high jump. Well, it's been a dominant performance today so far from Pitt State. Hopefully they can continue to do well in the track and field championship.
Yes, and then shouting out back to Heather, because again, I love when she did that. So that's
they always have great celebrations in the softball diamond.
Yes, that's great. Thanks. And that's it for sports. We'll be right back. Precious Moments opens its doors once again today. Now they are offering guided tours through the chapel. Reporter Ty Parks is in Carthage to hear about the changes they have made.
Precious Moments opens its doors again after being closed for a short period of time, making renovations to the gift shop. Director of Chapel Joette Blades tells KOAM why they started charging a fee for the tour.
Due to the fact that we want this to be here for generations to come. You know, we have our families that come back year after year. We have so many visitors that come that say, my grandmother brought me here, or I came here so long ago with my mom and now I'm bringing my children. Well, we want to make sure that Mr. Butcher's legacy and his dream will be able to live on.
People like the Yoder family who come from Oklahoma to enjoy the grounds.
Peaceful place, we like coming. We were here 20 years ago when we have 5 children, when they were little, and so we were driving through the area, we decided to stop by with our oldest granddaughter and visit, and we just noticed it still has that sweet, precious spirit about it, so peaceful and so beautiful, and we just really enjoy coming back.
Precious Moments has been relying on donations and revenue generated from the gift shop, and it was no longer enough.
So important to keep Mr. Butcher's legacy and his dream alive. You know, Mr. Butcher, everything he did was a way of saying thank you for all the blessings that the Lord had given him in his life. Mr. Butcher never dreamed that he'd have the success that he did, and he gave all of the credit back to God for all that happened to him in his life. And so we want to spread that same message, that message of loving, caring, and sharing, and keep that wonderful message. You know, the world needs that now more than ever.
In Carthage, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
The renovation also made way for a new feature that will be on the Precious Moments grounds. That feature will be unveiled in 2027. Up next, Emmy winner Maida Rudolph debuts on Broadway, plus George Michael's never-before-seen concert footage in Hollywood Nation. A music icon hits the big screen and an Emmy winner heads to Broadway. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with the latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
There has to be some way out of this.
Levy makes a big mistake, George Michael heads to theaters, and Rudolph takes the stage in the Hollywood Nation. Maya Rudolph is heading to Broadway. The Emmy-winning comedian will make her Broadway debut in the smash hit comedy Oh, Mary, taking over the role of Mary Todd Lincoln. Rudolph starts April 28th for a limited 8-week run through June 20th. George Michael's iconic Faith era is heading back to the big screen. A newly restored concert film, George Michael: The Faith Tour, features never-before-seen footage from the late singer's legendary 1988 tour and celebrates the Grammy-winning album, which made him a global superstar. The film is in theaters later this year.
We need you to guide us.
A princess sparks a rebellion in today's first looks. The trailer for Desert Warriors stars Aisha Hart as Princess Hind, who refuses to become the concubine of a ruthless emperor played by Sir Ben Kingsley. Forced into the desert, she teams up with a mysterious bandit played by Anthony Mackie as rival tribes unite for a final stand. It premieres April 24th.
You think we're gonna die here?
Dan Levy gets pulled into crime in the trailer for Big Mistakes. The Netflix comedy thriller stars Levy and Taylor Ortega as two dysfunctional siblings who accidentally steal from the wrong people and are blackmailed into the world of organized crime. The series debuts on Netflix April 9th.
You're being very dramatic!
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's the news for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of snack time for rare pale raccoons at the Denver Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.